Welcome to the You, Me, and Disney podcast. Hi, and welcome to the You, Me, and Disney podcast, episode 1. I'm Nikki.
I'm Sean. This is our inaugural episode.
That's so stupid.
Inaugural means first ever episode,
It's
doesn't
stupid.
it? Why is it stupid?
Because anyone who would say that doesn't belong on a Disney podcast.
What did they call the first episode of the Star Wars Hotel? Didn't they call it the inaugural hotel launch?
I don't think so.
Where people didn't go anywhere?
And I think that you should know that if you're going to
And
talk
about
it.
It failed miserably, just like this podcast is
Yes.
going to. So why are we here, Nikki?
We're here to talk about Disney and what we love about Disney and what we feel are the do's and don'ts and the ups and downs and the highs and lows.
All things Disney. Disney parks, Disney movies. Disney as a religion.
I like that, Disney as a religion.
Yeah, Walt was my cult leader.
I identify as a Disney dork.
I would say a Disney adult because I think that's what some people call them, is like Disney adults. But yeah, I think we're here to just talk about Disney, like a date night kind of thing on Mondays. So even if this never gets released, this is a good opportunity for you and me just to sit down and have cheap therapy because our insurance doesn't cover therapy.
I like this is our Disney
this
therapy.
Is like some people. I used to, backstory. I used to run a little bit, and I used to see people hold up signs that say, running is a cheap form of therapy, and so is starting a podcast that nobody's ever going to listen to. So.
I like this. So this is our therapy in life.
Yeah. So a little bit of backstory. We're a middle-aged couple, or at least I am. We have a couple kids. I fell in love with Disney because my wife loves Disney. She grew up going to Disney. I always resented people that went to Disney and talked about Disney, and then one day she dragged me to the parks.
Yes, I did. When our boy was 8, and my parents, who are also huge into Disney, planned a big trip. So we went, and I think you were pissed about it because you didn't want to go.
I actually booked a flight home on our first day. That's not a joke at all. I was on my iPhone. And full disclaimer, we're probably going to swear a little bit. So, if you have kids, maybe they shouldn't listen to this podcast. Because we swear. This is going to be a real podcast. We're going to get dirty.
We're going to get down and dirty.
This is going to be the rated R podcast. We're not trying to sell timeshares here.
No.
Not to
P.S. We love DVC.
Not to discourage anybody that sells timeshares or anybody that has a blog and they talk about food or anything else. Like... anybody else that's out there, there's plenty of room in the Disney sphere for everybody. But I think, I forgot where I was going, my train of thought.
That you instantly booked a trip home the second.
Oh, yeah. So, we were going, I finally had gotten sucked in and I was so pissed off. I wanted to leave. I hated everything about it. But
full disclaimer, he hates crowds.
Here we are 10 years later and all I do is fantasize about Disney every day.
When are we going to go? When are we going to go back?
No. Movies, like what's going on, news, we watch it daily. It's basically, we follow the stock reports. We know everything about it. But, to go back to Nikki, I think her parents had gone on their honeymoon, right?
Yes.
Pretty sure, yeah.
My parents went on their honeymoon, and then the first time I went, I was 4. Which I don't really remember except loving it. And then the next time I went, I was 10. And it's been Disney obsession since then. Yeah.
And I have 2 younger sisters that had been, and I just never had the opportunity to go, or I never wanted to go. It was basically the place I swore on my relationship we'd never go to. As a matter of fact, I think I even booked 2 vacations.
You did, and we couldn't go.
And we couldn't go, and I was so happy. I sacrificed the down payment and everything. I was like, yes, we don't have to go there. And, and here we are, again, 10 years later, and that's all I love doing is talking about Disney. I talk about it with colleagues, friends, and I can tell when it gets to the point where people's eyes start to glaze over that they're like, whoa, you're crazy.
Yeah. We call it the Mickey rays. So when the Mickey rays penetrate your brain and your soul, you just always want to go back.
And I want to spend all my money there.
Spend all of our Disney dollars.
Something in the water, something in the air,
The smells.
It's the smells. The minute you walk in. But yeah, so I guess we could start there with this podcast. Like, what do you love most about Disney? What if you could pick a moment that you fell in love with Disney as a park or as a franchise? What was the moment or moments that got you to where you are now?
I'm going to be completely cliche, and it's honestly like the magic. The magic behind each, down to like a cast member, you're catching a cast member doing something, or the people who make with the water, like the Mickey shapes on the ground. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Little cleaning people that
the
pop
cleaning
out of
people.
nowhere. Yeah.
Or, now that we're Disney adults, but we have children, it's those little magical moments with the kids, I think. Like, we also just recently went on our first Disney cruise, which maybe we'll talk about that in a different podcast.
Maybe.
But there was a moment where Sophie was holding Donald's hand, and they were just walking along. And that's something that you can't make up, and it's not something that you can force. It has to be something that just happens and is real. And it's stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like when the Muppets used to be in Liberty Square, and they would come out of the windows, and you'd get to see those little puppet shows that they don't do anymore. Stuff like that. Being at breakfast with characters, and everyone is just so happy. That's probably something else I love, is everyone who works there is happy. Whether they're having the worst day in the world or the best day in the world, from an outer exterior, it's just happy.
See, I think I fell in love with it for totally different reasons. I think, I don't recall the exact moment, but I think it was walking down Hollywood Studios Boulevard, like on our second day there of our first trip, and watching the stormtroopers do the parade.
Yeah.
Growing up like in the 70s and 80s, like Star Wars was obviously a big part of my life and my childhood. And watching them in full regalia and full armor, and music coming out of places where you didn't even know, and I was in awe. I could not believe that the costumes were so intricate and the details. And I think that might have been one of the moments where I was hooked. And then I can remember the second moment was in Animal Kingdom at Satuli Canteen, sitting there, hating you and your family for dragging me. And I was so angry, and I was like, God, I can get out on a flight the next day. And, full transparency, Nikki and I were going through some rough times at the moment. So, we might have been hating each other at that moment. But, I was basically like, I'm going to leave this place. And I was hating every second of it. And, I looked up, and I saw some clotheslines hanging on a post, and I thought to myself, that's crazy. I was like, why are there clotheslines that look like power wires hanging on top of a building? And I was like, that's insane. And I saw a shirt hanging on it and everything else, and it dawned on me in that second. I probably went back to like some PBS special I'd watched about like an African village and how they had to utilize everything at their disposal to like clean their clothes and make dinner and stuff like that. It dawned on me that the people, who I now know as Joe Rohde, and all the other Imagineers went to such great lengths and details that they added that little touch to the top of a building. By chance, if somebody happened to look up there, they would see that. They make everything so real. Everything from the ground that you walk on, to the way the cast members interact in each section of the park, whether it is Star Wars Land or
Toy Story Land,
like, hey, Andy's coming, or every little, from the minute you walk in, the cast members are like the best. And I used to laugh at that. I'd be like, cast members, like, come on, they're staff, they're employees, and it was like,
no, there's so much more.
Legitimately cast members, and they're there to make your vacation, like Nikki said, as magical as possible. And and I fully believe it now, to the point where I'm talking into a phone, and we're talking about our likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
But what if you were to if you were to say one thing right now, if somebody was to put like a gun to your head, hold your child for ransom, what would you say is the thing that you love most? Like you touched on like, oh, I like the magic and things like that, but what would you say? Is it a ride, or is it like, what would you say is the thing you love the most?
I'm obsessed with the characters.
The characters.
I find myself as a grown woman seeing Mickey Mouse and having to like, you know that it's a person in a costume who's probably my height, like and you see
college, making $18 an hour.
You see Mickey, and you have to just interact with him. You have Mickey, Minnie. I mean Daisy. I've told Daisy I love her shoes more than I tell adult women that I love her shoes.
Yeah, I scream at Mary Poppins every time I see her.
You know, so I think that, and when I see characters, I'm not knocking the princesses. I love the princesses, but there's something different about the characters like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto than the princesses.
They call them, what do they call them? The face characters? No. They call...
No, I don't know.
So they call the people that have faces, like Pocahontas and people like that, Mary Poppins, they call them face characters, and the other ones are the furry characters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Where for me, when I see the face characters, I always feel creepy, because usually it is a young 20-something-year-old girl, and it's like... I'm like, Cinderella, I love you. And she's like, you're a creepy guy. And, but...
In full disclosure, if I could quit my job tomorrow and go work at Disney, I would. But it's just not possible.
Yeah.
And I've aged out to be Cinderella.
Yeah. So I think I think it would have to be the rides. I love the rides.
Well, I feel like that's a given. So I feel like... Excuse me. I feel like when you asked me if there's one thing, I mean, the rides are like, of course.
Yeah, it's like choosing a child you love the most.
Yeah, that's the given. I mean, the rides are, it's all the other stuff that goes with it that makes Disney.
Yeah.
So I feel like when people talk to us like, oh, what's your favorite part? Granted, you and I will always be like, oh, you got to do this ride, or you have to do this ride, or, rope drop to do this. But at the end of the day, there are things and experiences that happen that are more than just the rides.
Yeah. But I think it's like a first date. It's like the rides suck you in, and then it's like maybe everything else keeps you back coming back for like a second date.
I like that.
It's like, oh, you got a nice car. It's yeah. It's like when you
got a dog.
When you go on Rise of the Resistance, and it's like, $100 million ride that wows you, and it's like, even the line you're in is a part of the ride, and and it's like special effects that are bigger than half the movies that have ever been made, and it's your jaw drops, and you're like, that isn't a ride, that's like a life experience. And I'm going to tell people about that, and I do to this day, whether they want to hear it or not, for the rest of my life. And it's like the first, I can recall a time where Nikki used to, back before I'd gone, she's like, oh, you're going to love Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the best ride in the world. And in my head, I was like, no, I'm never going to go on Pirates of the Caribbean. That ride is trash. I don't care about the dog with the key in his mouth. And I'm never going to see it. I'm never praying to God I will never go there. And it is my favorite ride.
I know.
It truly is. Like,
it's the smell.
It's the smell from the minute you walk in to the key. Actually, even before that, when you walk in the land, and you're like, I forget I'm in Central Florida. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am in a pirate village, like Tortuga, and there's cannons that you could actually physically touch, and they're real cannons. They're not made of plastic, like, and then you walk through, and there's big chains, and you swing them and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, it's almost like building up for it. And then it gets dark, and you go downstairs, and you get in this big boat with like 20 other people, and you're all in this experience together. And then you go down it starts off dark, and you go down the drops, and the music happens, and you feel like you're in the movie, and you are a part of the movie. It's the music and cannonballs flying everywhere else, and then it's you get off the ride, and you're processing. You're like, holy crap, Jack Sparrow is there, and Barbossa, and all these other people, and I saw the dog that my wife had referred to, and the dog was actually cute, And then you get off and you go up that conveyor belt and you're like, oh my God, I love that ride so much. And Disney knows you do, and they want you to spend money. So they put that store right there. And if you're like me, you buy your kids $50 worth of souvenirs and swords and t-shirts.
Oh, I hate that
coffee
store.
mugs.
It's the only thing I hate about Disney.
And, flash forward, the best bathrooms in Disney Park are right around the corner. So if you're ever in that area, you can kind of go right around the corner, and they're really nice bathrooms.
There.
The ones that are hidden.
There's a couple secret
in the back,
bathrooms.
Yeah, in the back over there. But it's just great, and I love that ride, and all the rides, from the lamest rides in the world to like the Tiki Room to the Carousel of Progress. I love every single ride. I don't think, strike that, there's one horrible ride.
Yeah, we won't do it. We don't even speak of it.
Small World, I've done it once. I will never do it again unless there's maybe like cash involved, or it's a bet or a bribe or something like that.
And to everyone who is like old school Disney, no disrespect.
No, there's disrespect. That ride sucks. Yeah.
Well, for me, I've been a Disney lover for a long time, and Small World, I've done it more times than I can tell you.
But it's not even the real Small Worlds. Real Small Worlds in Disneyland.
I know, but I just no disrespect.
Yeah.
There could be people who love that ride.
Yeah.
The only thing about that ride I do like is the hippopotamus.
With the lazy eye.
With the lazy eye.
Yeah, the dumb hippopotamus.
Yes, obsessed.
Yeah. They could take that hippopotamus and put it in the 3 Caballero rides, and it'd be amazing.
Yes.
Because
we should recommend.
Because that's the Mexican Small World, and it's amazing. Like, it's great. It's inside of a volcano. They learned all the things that they did wrong in Small World, and they put them over in 3 Caballeros, and it's great. Like,
the time we went and Donald was a bush.
Yeah, because if you don't know, that ride's had tons of failures. The mechanics have all broken down, and then they made him cardboard cutouts one time. But it's, again, the rides. Everybody, I feel like you go for the rides, then you end up falling in love with the cast members, the food,
Well, with the rides, everything is immersive. So it's not like... from the second you get in line, you get in the queue, everything about that section is leading you to go on this adventure.
Yeah, Buzz Lightyear. It literally puts you in the game. You're fighting Zurg in the game. That was another one that got me.
So back to Pirates of the Caribbean, you walk through this cinder block area, full of cannons and, guns and skeletons and things like that. So it's leading you, and the smell, the second you even walk into the queue, it smells that musty
coconut,
gunpowder smell.
Rum.
So
Degenerate Gambler.
I wish it smelled like rum.
It does. There's hints of rum and Lost Souls.
So I think that's what they do well, and anyone who is obsessed with Disney knows that that's the beginning of being immersed into whatever ride you're going to go on.
Yeah.
Look at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, you're walking through, you're touching little jewels and stuff like that. I didn't even know the story. I forgot about Seven Dwarfs, and and it's like the minute I leave the ride, I'm humming the song for the rest of the day, and I don't even realize it. And
hi ho,
hi ho, yeah, and it's one of those things back then you had to wait in line. This was in the Fast Pass days, and now obviously we'll save these for future episodes like Genie Plus and God knows what they'll have in the future.
We pay for that right now.
It would be like a retinal scan or something like that. What they'll have, you gotta give your DNA for a ride experience. But when we first went on it, it was either a Fast Pass or you wait in a 5-hour long line and for a 30-second ride. But again, you get off the ride, it was absolutely amazing. There's not too many ride experiences where you see people get off the ride and be like, oh my God, that ride was horrible.
Never.
I don't think I've ever seen it happen.
Except for Small World.
Usually, exactly. That and Winnie the Pooh. So I'm going to...
No!
We'll save that for another episode, ranking the worst rides ever. But obviously there's the nostalgic rides like those, but even the teacups. I've been on the teacups. They're nostalgic. You've seen them on TV, the flying Dumbos and things like that. So it's I feel like people go for the ride, they realize they like him, and they start looking around, because Disney can be very overwhelming.
Yes.
Very overwhelming.
Yes. For, we've done it a lot now, so we have that that overwhelming feeling doesn't take over. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back.
Still can.
Even as seasoned Disney people, I can let Disney get the best of me and get overwhelmed. And I feel like when you get overwhelmed, that is when you start to not have the best Disney day.
Yeah.
It's when you are just kind of doing what you want it, like going with the flow, doing what you want to do, following your plan that you had set up. And you do better. But when you get overwhelmed like that, that's when it falls apart.
But is that Disney's fault or is it your fault?
It's my fault.
Yeah. You can't blame Disney. They set you up for the perfect date, but even that can go, like the weather. You know, if it's your second day, you could be absolutely exhausted. Maybe one of your children, maybe your significant other, your friend, whoever it might be, like, you know, just upsets you. Everything can be going in the right direction, but yet other factors can totally destroy your trip, I think, you know?
But I think out of all the times we've gone, we've had huge bumps in the road.
Oh, yeah, huge.
And never
huge.
let it destroy. Like one year we went and you and the boy were super sick.
Yeah.
And then one year we went and it was a hurricane.
Yeah.
And, you know...
I always joke, people, like, to give you a little bit of a backstory, people, our friends and colleagues and everybody, they know we are huge nuts. Obviously, we're doing a podcast about Disney. We're huge fans. And one of my colleagues was like, "So you guys are planning on going to Disney in a hurricane?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd rather be at Disney in a hurricane than here in nice weather. You know, it's our happy place. It's where we like to go and be with the other crazies that enjoy Disney."
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do we go with this podcast? What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about?
I like that you said that we were going to rate rides.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun and interesting. I think we should talk about...
So maybe insider hints.
Because
I think we have a couple. Yeah. Yep. We give a lot of advice now to friends. Like, you know, they'll ask us, like, what should we do? How should we do this? And we help a little bit of planning. So, you know, maybe just... if there's any advice we have, we can pass it along, or if not, just enjoy talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, this is our little therapy date night.
It's funny because I was hesitant of this, but I'm just happy talking about Disney.
Right. I'm sitting here looking at your ear collection, and I'm like,
I have an extensive ear collection.
I want to keep adding to them, and you know, much like all the other podcasts I listen to, everybody has their Disney tchotchkes and paraphernalia, and we're in our bedroom right now. We don't have Disney studio money yet, so maybe someday down the road we'll have like a professional recording studio. But right now we're in our bedroom, and we are surrounded by Mickey statues, magic bands, popcorn buckets, and other things that we don't want our friends and family to actually see, to know how crazy we truly are. We keep it hidden and kind of out of sight, out of mind, but inside, like, I literally listen to Disney podcasts all day long. We watch Disney news, so I think that was the goal, is to give advice and just talk about Disney movies, current affairs, news.
Well, I like what you just said. Like, even if it's like one piece, like let's say one person listens and they could take one piece of advice that we had that worked.
High five to us, right?
High five to us. Or
we
like
rock.
a do's and don'ts, or like 5 minutes of like, wah, wah, what's wrong with Disney? Like,
yeah, we could go the Tom Corliss route. Love Tom Corliss, by the way.
Love Tom Corliss, we're obsessed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think that's a good starting off spot.
Absolutely. So I think with that being said, this will be our first episode in the books. High five.
High five.
High five.
We did it.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you back maybe on the next recording.
Yeah.
Have a great
night. Take care. Bye.
Bye.